Welcome back, everybody, to the Cleveland Browns 0-16 rebuild on Madden 18. My name is Mr. Hurricane, and we are going to tackle another offseason today with our Browns. We are now in the 2020 season, which means the 2021 season is upon us, entering what will be the fourth offseason already in this rebuild. We've certainly done a lot of great things to this point, beginning with the first draft pick of the series, Anton Greenberry. The quarterback has been phenomenal, but his last season wasn't his best. It was shocking to me, but the offense just could not duplicate success they had in previous years. We were one of the worst scoring offenses in football, and it just didn't make sense given our quarterback, our supporting cast around him. So that makes me think that it's time to make some changes on this team. Before we get there, I'm going to do a little upgrading here and show you a bit of what I'm working on. Parker Shaw, drafted last year in the second round, became Rookie of the Year with a season that I did not think deserved Rookie of the Year. But nonetheless, he wins it, and a bunch of XP to go with it. We are going to give a good bump here to awareness, but I want to make sure I get to upgrade some of the actual running back skills as well. So let's go spin a couple, juke, stiff arm's fine where it is. I'll get spin even higher. Let's see, injury is great, and awareness even more so. Always got to get these overall boosts to these players, and there we go, making him an 84 overall. So this is going to be a very big offseason with some key decisions to make, and we're going to open with one right here, going to the staff page. I think it's time for us to move on from head coach Bill O'Brien. He's still a level 1 coach, and he's had two 6-7 win seasons with us and one playoff season with no playoff victories. He's done some good things for us, but now it's time to move on. I would like to find a new head coach for the Cleveland Browns. I also want to find a new scout because I don't need an offensive line specialist. So now it's time to find the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns. We go from Hugh Jackson to Bill O'Brien, and now who is available? Dan Kugler is the top on the board. I do want to find a defensive scheme, although there was a lot of comments saying I should change up the Hugh Jackson playbook. Maybe that was what was the problem. I figured with the Hugh Jackson playbook it would sim, 4-3 stuff, but maybe that's more of a hybrid system in here. So I'm not seeing a lot of former head coaches. There's Todd Bowles and Hugh Jackson coming back. Maybe not. Or what if we go Kyle Shanahan, who definitely burst onto the coaching scene a little bit. This wasn't his first stop or anything, but with Cleveland, there was some success. So Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator of the Browns back in 2014 when they went 7-9. And that was the year where Brian Hoyer pretty much played quarterback the entire time. Their leading receiver was Andrew Hawkins, then Taylor Gabriel, Miles Austin. So this was a tough offense, but still they got to 7 victories. I'm sure the defense had a lot to do with that. But you know what? We're going to bring in Kyle Shanahan to work with Anton Greenberry and hopefully take the Browns to that next level. And then for a scout, I'm going to go with Clint Kelly because I just like those linebackers to be cheaper to scout overall. So there are the offers made to begin this transition. There we go, new scout, new head coach, Kyle Shanahan. It didn't work out in San Francisco, but I think with Anton Greenberry in this offense, we can definitely make it work. We're going to go to Shanahan's playbook he had in San Francisco. There we go, and then the defense, I'm guessing it would be an attacking 4-3. I know that they ran a 3-4 for many years, so hopefully this gives us the kind of simulation stuff we need. So David Njoku made it as a Pro Bowler. We didn't obviously have as much on offense. Look at that, CJ Ham. There you go, he makes it to the Pro Bowl. Anybody else for us? Jamie Collins actually makes it as the top left outside linebacker. What about no Myles Garrett, huh? Myles Garrett does not make it. I guess it's tough to make it as an edge rusher sometimes. No one at corner. Former Brown Jordan Poyer made it, but that's not going to count. Matt Bryant makes it. All right, not many Pro Bowlers for us. We're starting to see some more of these draft stories as the season comes to an end. Leonard Baker, 14 catches, 200 yards. I think he's the top receiver in the class. And then running back Perry Foreman struggles at the All-Star game, averaging less than 2 yards a carry and then getting injured. So we now know our selections. We'll pick in the middle of each round with our picks. And then we have an extra second, which is more toward the bottom, so I guessed wrong on the overall team success of whoever's second round pick I acquired last year. By the way, here is Leonard Baker, really good prospect here, 5'10", 179, great route runner, excellent hands. Someone's going to get a tremendous playmaker. And judging by some of these other receivers I've scouted, you might have to really prioritize taking receiver early if that's what you want. I have a little bit of extra points here after not scouting in week 17. And here are a couple interesting third round picks. I see these top threes and I just don't think they're undrafted talents. I don't understand that. Here's Tavares Hayden, who I first scouted last episode. B+ finesse, B+ hit power, and B- tackle. Let's go. Oh, he's already on the scouting board. There we go. There is a mid-round gem. Okay, now in the 6th round, there might be a safety worth taking a look at. I feel like everybody I scout now has pretty good talent. Thomas Drescher from Northern Iowa. Best free safety in the weakest free safety class I've ever seen, but he might actually be pretty good. Okay, Trey Haynesworth now. A- hit power with adequate coverage and tackle ability. All of a sudden, everybody I scout is awesome. So now we have made it to the actual offseason as Bruce Arians delivers another Super Bowl championship to the Seattle Seahawks. Let's just see the box score of that quick and see what players did well. They defeat the Raiders by 2 for another Super Bowl win. Russell Wilson, 2 touchdowns. Not a great day for Derek Carr against that Seattle defense. Duke Johnson wins a ring. Not with the team that we probably hoped he'd win with when this series began. How about that defense? What that Seattle defense do? Obviously, Carr couldn't do much. A couple sacks there, and the interception by Richard Sherman. So taking a look now at the players we need to re-sign. There are major ones at the beginning. Myles Garrett, David Njoku. That's going to eat up a lot of our cap space if we want to keep those players. Before we get to negotiating, I want to show you the overall landscape of our contract situation. Now, the Browns have had a lot of young talent, many young draft picks, and a lot of them have worked out. Just look at the top players here on our board. It's going to be hard to keep all of them, and quite simply, you can't. So you have to figure out which ones are you going to keep and which ones are you going to let test open free agency. Myles Garrett, not the kind of player you let hit the open market. Maybe you consider it with David Njoku, but also remember he is the best receiver we have on the team. And here are the numbers he's had throughout his career. These 3 being here in the rebuild, 13 touchdowns, 7, then 1,000 yards. Very good. One of the top tight ends in the league. Why don't we look ahead to the players that are going to be paid the most in upcoming seasons? We have Joel Bitonio, who might be entering the last 2 years of his contract here, I believe. This is 2021 and then 2022. But I think for players who have expiring contracts, I'm not sure what it does there. It's a little bit confusing when you get to this point of the offseason. Danny Shelton is 28 years old and still has a couple of years left on his deal. We have Deion Jones signed to a big contract. Corey Coleman's wasn't too big, but the last year is going to have a pretty steep cap number. And then Derek Kindred, Lindsey Stokes, who was drafted very high. Obviously, having these high draft picks means they're going to make a lot as rookies. But overall, not too many big deals being handed out, and we have a lot of cap space. So right now, it's not a bad situation. You just don't want to get into one with some good planning here. I want to be able to keep Greenberry and a lot of the other draft picks that we've gotten in this series. So let's begin, of course, with Myles Garrett. I'm going to up this to 50 over 4. Going to increase the base salary and hope that this is enough, exceeding the fair value. If he hits the open market, like, that's just not going to be a good thing for us. I'll even go 51. I'll up the signing bonus a little bit, and then 51.3. I'd be happy with that. I just don't want him to test. And Myles Garrett. There we go. We re-sign our franchise player for 4 more seasons. That was the most important decision. Next up, David Njoku. Luckily, tight ends are not that expensive. They get paid more like wide receiver 2s, sometimes doing wide receiver 1 productions, so that's kind of a nice bargain. We are going to up it to $32.3 million, and we're going to let it ride here with a 90 overall tight end. David Njoku signs. Now, for Larry Ogunjobi, solid player, 27 years old. He's the kind of player I'm going to let test free agency. He's going to enter the regression zone here pretty soon. And this is, $5 million a year. These are the kind of contracts that you tend to let go at this point. A lot of these more second, third tier players, those are the ones you let go because they're just making a little bit more than you want to pay sometimes. And then obviously, Njoku and Garrett, their contracts are going to run out when they're 29. And that's what I'm looking for. I don't want to sign players who are 27 to 4-year contracts all the time. Robert Kelly, we're going to let him test as well. I think his overall might have gone down even. Matt Bryant was excellent this year, but if I can find someone better, I will. And then let's go to Adam Humphries here because he had a 1,000-yard season for us. And he should still be good for a while, but I might let him test and try to get him on a 1-year contract because I know he's not going to like what I'm offering here, even if it's $5.5 million. Nice little signing bonus here. Take a vacation here after you sign it. But Humphrey says, nah, free agency is going to be what I do. For Deshaun Kaiser, the accuracy ratings just aren't good enough, and he's thrown too many interceptions in his time playing. So we're going to let him test, and we'll try to figure out our backup quarterback spot moving forward. Josh Gordon, who is 30 years old, I'm going to let him test, and I think it's unlikely that I'd bring him back. I might want to re-sign Rod Johnson later on, but none of these ratings are standing out enough to really prioritize a 3-year deal right now, so I'm going to let him test as well. Emmanuel Ogbah. I signed him really late last season, so I'll probably do the same thing again this year and try to find a replacement if I can. Jamie Collins, big trade, brought him into Cleveland, but at this point, I think it's time for us to look at what else we can do. If we get Collins back, that'd be great, but I just don't know if he's starting caliber anymore. It may seem like I'm being a little cheap right here, but I'm also thinking about drafting other players, and maybe I can find a center who's in this 75 overall range. So I'm not going to make a 2-year deal right now for Reed Nash, but I will certainly write all these names down because I'm going to forget them. I would like to bring back Aaron Savage, however. He was one of the players I really liked as good depth, but I'm not surprised that he wants to test. Hey, Jabril Peppers, I know things did not kind of go as planned here in the 4 years with Cleveland. I like a lot of his running back skills, but there was never like a complete type of position that I thought he could dominate at. Here is what he accomplished as a running back: 3.5 yards a carry, 5 touchdowns, and a little damage here as a receiver. I don't know, I've thought about moving him back to defense, but at this point, I'm not sure what we can do. I want to bring him back, but probably on a 1-year contract, and then I'll think about if running back is where I still want him to play, or if I can move him back to defense. So I definitely want to come back to this. So ultimately, a couple tough decisions at the beginning, and then a lot of players we just let test free agency. So we still have plenty of cap space and funds as we look ahead to unrestricted free agency. And look at that. Left tackle Joe Thomas has finally retired, a Cleveland Browns legend. Sorry we could not get you to the Super Bowl or really that close, Joe. He stuck around longer in this series than I thought he would. We're also going to be looking for a new punter after this offseason too. So we have 2 retirements this year after really not many or any to this point. So maybe you think that I overpaid a little bit for Myles Garrett just based on his demand, but I was worried about him testing after, getting in-season upgrades and whatnot. So I had to make sure that wasn't going to happen. Wow. Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook hit the open market this year. Not a lot of big-name free agents or like high overall free agents, but there are 2 really good running backs on the open market. Wow, that's tempting. So Tony Garcia might be a player worth bidding on if we need a 1-year solution at left tackle. Not worried about development or anything, but he's definitely going to command a fair amount of money, and I don't want to do like a multi-year contract. How about right tackle? Anything there? Taylor Moton? Low pass block though. Probably the same kind of situation there. Plus look at the Bengals. 122-point offer. How do I compete with that? We're going to punter, where we're going to make a 1-year contract offer to Drew Kaiser. I had a lot of fun with him in my Chargers franchise back on Madden 17. Let's bring him back here. If we want a decent backup quarterback, why not CJ Beathard, who spent time with our head coach Kyle Shanahan out in San Francisco. He has the right blend of good accuracy and skills and age. Mitchell Trubisky is actually available, but Beathard's ratings are better. So I'm prioritizing Beathard here. I'm not sure if this becomes much of a competition, so I might get him pretty cheap. I could compete for Davis Webb, but the Panthers are already there, so I'm not going to worry about that one. I don't want to make a big kind of offer. Here are the Bengals with a 119-point bid. I'm checking out their signings after this is over because it's ridiculous what they're doing right now, throwing money all over the place. So let's look at the roster and just get an idea of our full needs. I'd like to get another running back to complement Parker Shaw. Obviously, there are a couple very good ones on the open market. Receiver, we lost a lot of our depth here, and I need to obviously fill this out a bit more. Fisher Bell is an 83 overall, and he's 26. Corey Coleman, I'm not sure how much more he can progress at 27 years old. So I might want to get a little more aggressive here than I initially thought. Obviously, tight end is pretty good with Hayward and, of course, David Njoku. Left tackle is a big need now. Thankfully, the rest of our offensive line is pretty good. Then defensively, we have very good pass rushers. I like our defensive tackle, Danny Shelton, but he's 28, so I should get some youth at that position. We don't have any outside linebackers to play left outside. If we do play 4-3 this year, though, I can move Don Banks to outside linebacker, and that would kind of take care of that position. Corner is solid. Safety has the potential. So really, I'm looking at defensive tackle, maybe a receiver, running back, and a left tackle. It does look like Larry Ogunjobi is going to get a pretty good offer from somebody. There are 3 very high offers for him already. A player like Corey Liuget for a year would help kind of just be a stopgap there, and I could still get somebody young to develop. So I'll make this offer right here for Corey Liuget. Let's go 3.5. You know, if we need some depth here at linebacker, a nice veteran to have would be Navarro Bowman, who is recovering from a broken femur, but I would like to sign him on for 1 season. I'm just wondering, what does the baseline offer on Alvin Kamara get you? 89 points. So you have to put in about $40 million over 5 years for a running back. I just don't think that's a good idea when we haven't even paid our quarterback yet. So we sim past stage 1. Nothing too aggressive, but we do get Navarro Bowman as our only signing. That's it so far. So just a few offers out there, and now the Panthers want Beathard. I thought you guys wanted Davis Webb. Maybe you're getting both. I don't know. Oh, they got outbid. Okay, and now there's a market for Trubisky. What about Nathan Peterman? Accuracy's all right. It wouldn't be bad on a short deal, but at this point, I don't have to make an offer right now then. These players should be there when the offseason ends. So if I want to even get like Alex Smith to be the backup, we could probably make that happen. I'll just make a small offer on Smith right now. That doesn't hurt. Like 1 year, like 5 mil. We're not going to be spending that much this offseason. So Alvin Kamara goes to the Jets, Dalvin Cook to Houston, Chris Carson. Oh, this is all running backs. Top players. Kamara to the Jets with Cooper Kupp, the top receiver who was available. So big upgrades to the offense, and Phillip Rivers. So they're just going to build everything through free agency. I got to see what Mike Williams got, though, from the Bengals and all these big deals they gave out. Taylor Moton, Larry Ogunjobi to the Jets as well. The Jets had all the cap room, I guess. Dalvin Cook gets about $7 million a year, a little bit less than that. Deshaun Kaiser is going out to the Patriots for a little under $5 million a season. Larry Ogunjobi gets 23/4 from the Jets. Kamara gets almost $40 million from the Jets. Cooper Kupp actually did not get a huge offer. I kind of wish I would have gotten in on that one, but I don't think he's going to develop a whole lot more. Taylor Moton gets 27/4. Check this out. The Bengals paid Mike Williams $37 million over 4 seasons, while the Jets went and paid a higher overall player, Cooper Kupp, only 28. Wow. The Bengals just threw money all over the place. And we're obviously going to see that team, a couple times a year. So I don't mind that they're spending too much money. Like I have mentioned, it's a good year to need a left tackle. There should be options for us in the first round, so that's great news. If I want to upgrade at running back or receiver, I should get to know the early round prospects there, and especially now with the combine grades available, as I have scouted most of these top tier running backs. Let's meet some of those players. 4.4 40, great strength, Dorenton Bond from Wisconsin. Okay, there's a fun power back. How about Ray Hunt from UCLA? He's a power back who's a bit slower, not a great combine. How about Kyron Curtis, 4.63. Perry Foreman was the player they said struggled at the All-Star game. He ran a 4.44. Combine was pretty good, nothing stands out. Still should be a good player though, maybe he falls a bit more. The top-ranked receiver in this draft class has a spec catch right away, but did not have a great combine for jumping for 40. So a couple weaknesses there, although he's a good player. How about Cedric Benjamin? Not terrible. I'm not sure if it's 4th round bad. I guess the combine wasn't great. Really bad agility. A spec catch, B+ route running. Let's go. Spencer Morris ran a 4.44 40, and those ratings will make him a beast to begin his career. So there's another mid-round gem. It's a good year to have 3 4th-round picks. Great, the Falcons found Reed Nash, and they've made a pretty big offer for him. So I'll probably look in a different direction then. Let's go Travis Dysert here. I can probably make a pretty small offer, not $40 million. And then I'll get Jabril Peppers back on the team. Hopefully, we'll make a small offer here for 1 year, and maybe I'll find a new role for him because the running back thing hasn't been great. We have Navarro Bowman as a veteran, but we'll also bring back Jamie Collins, maybe have a little competition there or something. Here's Aaron Savage, no bids on him right now. I'll make a 2-year offer, and we'll go for about, 2.14 is good. There are still some receivers getting some really good offers, like Taywan Taylor, Kenny Golladay, and Chris Godwin. I'm not going to get into those. I will try to bring back Adam Humphries. I think maybe another 1-year contract would be nice, $5 million or so. He didn't really have much of a market even after a great season. Wow, Garcia got a market, so that might not be an option for us any longer. Maybe a year for Cordy Glenn. I hope it doesn't get to that point. I hope I find a good rookie. Hopefully a bunch of signings here, as we do get contracts accepted by Dysert, Savage, Collins, and Humphries. A lot of returning players. And now stage 3. Oh wow, Tavares Hayden. I found him last episode. We fully scouted him here, and the combine was spectacular. Strongest outside linebacker, great agility, speed is going to be adequate. I need to get Tavares Hayden. The Packers made an offer on Corey Liuget, so we might lose that one. Peppers doesn't like this offer much, it seems. But I have to figure out a defensive tackle solution now, so let me see if there's somebody else there. Liuget much better than the other defensive tackles who are available, so maybe I just have to get more aggressive, especially because we have the cap room this year. So I'm not sure what it takes to beat the Packers here, but I want to win. You also have to remember that it's a very thin defensive tackle class. I don't think there are going to be a lot of great first-year starters there. So we need to make sure that we just get what we can. Corey Liuget's going to get a nice offer from us. And I don't want the Packers to outbid us, so I have to go over their bid a little bit. And now on to stage 4. Kaiser accepts. So does Alex Smith and Corey Liuget. So better quarterback depth. We make sure we have 2 very good defensive tackles to start this year. That is pretty good. We still have to address tackle. That obviously is very possible at this draft class. Would be nice to get a receiver at some point, and there are options there. And I found a bunch of 4th round picks that I'm interested in, so this is not going to be a year where I want to do a lot of trading up. I want picks, and I have them. So I'm going to end this episode right here. I recorded the full offseason in one session, but the recording was about twice as long as I expected it, so this would have been a huge offseason video if I included the full draft. Instead, catch the draft in tomorrow's episode along with some preseason and final roster work, and then we'll get on to the next year of the Browns franchise. Hope you enjoyed free agency and the first half of the offseason, but definitely check out the draft in tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and join the road to 100,000 subscribers here on the channel, and continue to leave your feedback down in the comment section. I'll see you all next time. Have a great day.